Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game, and it's a preview of Brighton against West Ham United for Sky Sports' Friday night game. Gonzo, we travel to the seaside. What's your thoughts on our opponents?
They've not had a win in a little while, but obviously having provided the blueprint for beating Manchester United, I'm not sure they've had a win since. I had a quick look, scroll down the screen on the phone earlier, and I hadn't seen a win. I had a couple of losses, a couple of draws. Maybe they lost to Southampton in the cup, possibly, but I had to scroll back quite a long time to see a win. So I mean, it's easy to get caught up in the West Ham bubble. But actually, I think they may be playing with a few nerves, but they're relatively safe in 15th. But Chris Hughton, as always, has done a good job there.
Gonzo's right. They haven't won in 5 Premier League games, although those opponents do include the likes of Man City, Liverpool. They have had really hard fixtures, but they've got, I think, 9 games coming up where they don't play anyone from inside the top 6. So Brighton fans could probably expect to get points on the board, just like West Ham are way to enter a run of games where we should expect points. But Tom, what's your thoughts on the Seagulls?
Don't really know much about them. I watched them twice last year. That's both times that we played them. I mean, they look a good side. Like Gonzo said, I guess, you could always expect an organised team with a manager like Chris Hughton. A few dangerous players. I remember, obviously, Izquierdo and Pascal Gross gave us some trouble down at the Amex last year. But I think, realistically, a side that, probably given our current form, that we should be beaten, not with ease, but putting in a good performance to beat it. And certainly going to be a tough game on Friday night.
Good news for West Ham fans is that Chris Hughton has confirmed Pascal Gross will miss Friday night's game, so he won't be playing for Brighton, which could help us. I think you're being a bit, maybe, you're not being harsh about it, but I actually really, really fear this game for a reason. I'll come on to that in a second. I think their league position doesn't represent them. I think it's quite, because they're so early in the season, they've had a really hard run of fixtures. I think they've been playing better than their results imply, but I think most Brighton fans might take their point tally as it is right now, which is 5, considering the fixtures they've had. And my worry, if I was a Brighton fan, would be how reliant they are on Glenn Murray. He is their only goal scorer. They did sign that player. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, from the Dutch league for a record fee.
Locadia.
And he's just not, I think he's made 5 appearances, not scored yet, so that's probably one for us to watch. But Gonzo, I think this ground is one of the toughest grounds to go to in the Premier League. Only 3 defeats there for Brighton last season, which was against Leicester, Man City and Chelsea. One so far this season, which was against Spurs with a last-minute goal. I mean, I think this is one of the hardest grounds to go to.
Well, I've not been to the ground yet. Funny enough, I'm going on Friday, so that's going to be, look forward to going there and seeing it. They had such a big tug of war, I think, with the local council about, because they were playing, I think, in a hockey stadium for years and years and years. So they got the purpose-built stadium. Apparently, it's very nice. I'll get to look at it for myself. But they're a good team. They're always going to be a good team because Hughton is, as Tom says, he has them well organised. They've got 2 very good centre backs, keep them very strong at the back. The old codger up front who keeps scoring. He's fantastic. And what's his name? Escapido or whatever it is, always seems to score a worldie against us, doesn't he? So we're going to have to watch out for him. But they are a good team, and as you say, they've just broken their transfer record. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong to fear them. I think we have to go there and treat them with respect, and they will be looking to turn their fortunes around against us. But well, we'll wait and see. You'll ask me if I'm confident in a minute.
Tom, do you think they'll be comfortable this season?
No, I think they were one of the teams that are obviously going to be in the mix for relegation. Probably one of the, probably due to the start they had, I guess, with teams like that, it's always, can you score goals? And so far, you would say they've obviously not done that this season, and they are very reliant on Glenn Murray. So I think it's always going to be difficult for a team like that if you're not going to sort of spend the money on proven Premier League players for a few seasons to sort of stay up. So I know you say it's a difficult place to go to, but I think wherever they end up going, they will struggle to score goals this season. So no, I'm not really sort of fearful of Brighton as a whole, but I think obviously if they don't start picking results up quickly before the fixtures come in fast before Christmas, they could find themselves in a lot of trouble.
I'm not going to criticise them for not signing Premier League proven players, because whenever me and Gonzo do a cup of tea, I complain that's all West Ham do, and I'd prefer us to go be a bit more adventurous.
I'd prefer them to do that, but I'd wait a few seasons until they've sort of steadied themselves in the Premier League first. That's what I meant.
Well, I think you're taking a risk there, because if it doesn't work and you spent tens of millions on Premier League proven players, because it does cost tens of millions, and you get relegated, then what you're going to do? You just lost a load of money. Whereas Brighton last season, Pascal Gross, £4 million, the best signing of the season last season in my eyes. They know what they're doing, and I think they'll be comfortable this season eventually. Though, like I said, the only problem is they're relying on a 35-year-old to put the ball in the back of the net. Apart from him, last season, I think there was Gross and that Izzy guy was the only one to score more than 3 goals for Brighton last season. Knockhart was someone I was looking forward to seeing in Premier League, but he's not really done it as much yet. But Gonzo, who's your danger man? Are you going to go for the Izzy boy?
I am, because I think he scored 2 worldies against us. Yeah. I think that was it. So yeah, you can only go on what you see, and I'm not a great watcher of Match of the Day, as you know, so I wouldn't claim to be an expert on Brighton. So every time I see them, it's against us, and they look pretty good when they play us. And he seems to be the pick of the bunch. So yeah, it would be sod's law if he stuck another one in from 30 yards.
Tom, you don't sound very impressed with Brighton. Is there anyone you rate in the Brighton team?
Yeah, no, Brighton have done things to me in another life.
That was a good night out, though, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheers. I don't think we'll go there, especially with what was it, Izzy Pedo? You called him in Brighton. Bloody
he always scores.
No, I'm not really fearful. I guess it's maybe just filled with such confidence at the minute of how we've been playing the last couple of weeks. It's nothing against Brighton. Like I said, I really like Houghton as a manager, and I'm sure Brighton is a cracking night out. But for me, it's I'm more than optimistic going into Friday. I just think the way that we've been playing, we just have too much for Brighton at the minute.
Interesting. Well, I think they're a hard-working team. I think they're a well-organised side. I think they're going to have more effort than Man United had against us, that's for sure. I think they're going to graft more than Man United did against us. I think they'll be fine this season. I'm more fearful for this J guy, record signing boy. I don't know how you say his name. I don't watch the Dutch league. I know you can say Tom Schuch, but he hasn't scored. It's just one of them things, isn't it? He scored West Ham. The record signing has not scored a goal yet. We all know it's a case of as you were. It's getting a bit boring, this lineup predictor thing, isn't it?
Well, you cut out then, Gio. I missed the last. Oh, you cut back in when I heard you say as you were.
Yeah, is it just for the West Ham 11? Is it just a case of as you were now for about the 3rd week in a row?
Yes, mate. Yes, indeed. And it has to be. And that's given us a little bit of solidity from he was playing musical chairs at the start of the season. And now, and that obviously hurt us, and the results sort of reflected that, didn't they? So anytime he's can put out this settled team, obviously Antonio was in for one game, but Arnie's back. It's just going to do us a world of good. And we can only get better by playing that same 11 each and every time as they get used to each other's games.
Well, normally we sit here and discuss what we would like to see Pellegrini to do, but to mix it up, because it's getting a bit boring until we start losing games. Tom, which partnership are you most impressed with out of that starting 11?
In terms of just midfield or wide men or back four?
Just the partnerships, i.e. which players linking up together, etc.
I really like the... there's a few... Obviously, Balbuena and Diop has been wonderful to see. It's been a breath of fresh air for West Ham and centre halves. Arnautovic and Anderson, what they've got going, bringing Yarmolenko into the team. For me, just that midfield 3, I think that a lot of the time it's criticised about, have Mark Noble's legs gone and have, is he past his best or anything? But I think when he's got someone young like Declan Rice in the team who's almost sort of doing not all of his running for him, but it makes the game easy for Noble as he gets older. And I just think that having Rice in that position with Noble sort of just ahead of him and even with Albion working in that sort of midfield 3 with the triangles and the playing close together, I think that they've just been the unsung heroes, because realistically a midfield against Fred, Pogba, Matic, and that should have been completely outclassed the other day. And what we saw actually was just a masterclass from our midfield. And I think, like I said, having that key piece of Rice in there, just to to extend Noble's lifetime, if you will, in terms of playing career. And I just think the way that they've been playing has just been absolutely immense.
Gonzo, when I said that question, you started nodding. I assume there was a partnership that came to your head like that.
Yeah, there was. It's the centre-backs. I agree with everything Tom said, by the way. Absolutely. And you asked an open question, then you could pick any number of players. So many have been impressive. Very impressed with Balbuena and Diop. Very, very impressed. They seem to complement each other wonderfully. One of them's got all the athleticism and the power and can make last gasp sort of saving tackles. The other one's got it up. He's making interceptions. He's reading the game slightly earlier. I think they really complement each other wonderfully. And do you know what? Obviously, Balbuena was cheap at 3-4 million, whatever we paid for him. But I think Diop is going to end up proving very cheap as well. Yeah, I'm happy, and that gives us a real solid base to go from. And with the three that Tom spoke about in front of them as well, I think it's going to be difficult for a lot of teams to break us down and put the sort of numbers of goals past us that we're used to seeing for the past 2 or 3 years. There's a real protective base in front of a very, very good goalkeeper.
I was about to say you should add Fabianski to that partnership, Gonzo. I actually think they come as a trio now, and maybe even Declan Rice for the quadruple, because whenever one of those centre-backs moves, Rice is tucking in there and becoming that extra centre-back, which we need. I'm going to go up a bit obscure because I was expecting you two to go these ones. I'm going to pick out Zabaleta and Yarmolenko. I think there's a funny partnership going on there with them two. And I've never seen Zabaleta. I swear Zabaleta's got faster in the last 2 games because he's now somehow bombing down that right-hand side a lot more than I expected. But they've got that link up that when one goes, Yarmolenko knows how to play a fullback in behind defence. That's something Yarmolenko can do. Zabaleta knows when to run in behind a fullback in defence. Something that you can have all the pace in the world, but if you don't have it up there, you'll be continuously found offside, etc. That's something Zabaleta doesn't do, and we've been seeing that. That little partnership intrigues me, and so does Noble and Natovic. Whenever Noble has the ball, and Natovic knows Noble has the ability to get to his feet. As simple as that. Noble can do that. It goes back to what Tom says. Obiang and Rice know that when Noble gets the ball, to let him be the ball player in midfield. We've all spoken about Jack Wilshere being the ball player. Funnily enough, actually Martin Noble's turn out to be the ball player in centre midfield for us at West Ham. Gonzo, is anyone's shirt up for grabs? Is it near enough impossible to get into our starting 11, or is there anyone in our starting 11 which you think someone can maybe dislodge him?
Well, I will say one just to make conversation, but I would like him to keep the 11 the same. But if I were to choose one, then I would probably go for Masuaku. For Cresswell would possibly have the biggest case for inclusion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's difficult because when you look at Snodgrass on Saturday, he did all the claim in the world to start, but the problem is there's no spaces for him. He just got away. Tom, who is our key man for Brighton fan watching this, if they're still watching after you've been slagging them off? They've given up by now. Who's West Ham's key man for Friday night?
Do you know what? I as the weeks go on, I'm just seeing more and more. I guess you could say Arnautovic is the sort of main one, I guess. But for me, just Felipe Anderson. I don't know if he's just coming into his own more the last few weeks. And again, I know he's probably not everybody's first choice, but I think genuinely he frightens people with his turn of pace down the wing and his skill. We've started to see again the last couple of games, and I think defenses will be a little bit more wary of what he can almost offer now. And when those front three are clicking, I think he's been a pivotal part of it the last few games. So for me, I think that genuinely he's starting to come into his own now, and we're starting to see that talent because he's been very consistent the last few games. And I just think for a team like Brighton, who may not be, I think they've got a new right back. They got Montoya in there, who's sort of bounced about since Barcelona. So I think he's going to potentially give him hell on Friday night.
Gonzo, do West Ham fans ahead of this fixture, now looking at the fixture as a whole, do we need to remain calm a little bit? Because listening to Tom there, it feels like he's potentially getting a little bit carried away, in my opinion. Do you think maybe if we get a point, we have to consider it as a good result and not be disappointed that we've come off the back of 3 really good results in the league, etc.?
Yeah, everybody's right here. I mean, Tom's right to be excited because these are exciting times. And he just spoke about Anderson. I'm not sure I've fully enjoyed his goal yet. We were there and we had a great time of day. I've watched it, a couple of replays, but I mean, that was a fantastic goal. And but so he's right to be excited and confident because that's what we like as West Ham fans. It was doom and gloom for the first 4 games, so now it's high elation, and that's fine. But you are also right that a point away at Brighton in the bigger scheme of things will be a very, very good point this season to add. It would extend our unbeaten run as well, which we needed an unbeaten run following the start to the season. So, but yeah, I am also, you are right. That's the pragmatism. I am quite excited like Tom though.
Gonzo, are you confident?
I am actually, yeah.
Continue. Where is your confidence from? What makes you think we're going to win?
I don't know. It's just that feel-good thing going on, I like the balance of the team. it's like you talk about partnerships. There's difference, there's variety. Yarmolenko is different to Anderson. Masuaku is different to Zabaleta, who you spoke of. The two centre-backs, we've already discussed it, are different. The central midfielders are different. And crikey, Arnautovic is different, isn't it? There's not too many who've got a striker or someone spearheading the attack, if you don't want to call him a striker, who's like Arnautovic. I just think West Ham have got an awful lot going for him. We just really wanted and waited for it to click. And I just think at some point we can praise Chris Hughton and praise Murray up front. But at some point you've got to look at the teams and think, well, actually, 11 for 11, we should be beating most teams. So then it's just down to how good is our teamwork and our team ethic. Well, off the back of what we hear of what Mark Noble, who got to take a lot of credit, has drummed into him, Declan Rice, since he's come into the team, and since the centre-backs have become reliable and steady, as it were, I think we've got that work ethic and that team spirit as well. So I almost think everything is going for us. So, yeah, a 4-0 win, Brighton.
Well, I'll come back and get your real prediction in a second, unless that is your real prediction. Tom, you're sitting there, Mr. A confident chappy. Would you like to justify one's reasonings?
Yeah, I was going to say, before this all comes back and bites us in the arse on Friday night.
Enough about Brighton now, okay?
Yeah. Yes, control myself. I'm confident because I think it's about time we just have a spine to the team, and the confidence that is just almost coursing through that team at the minute. There's, like you said, there's not one person that can be shifted, you would think, week in, week out. And I think everybody's almost just playing at a higher level because, that's just what the players they've been instilled by Pellegrini. And I read the other day that Mark Noble was apparently hollering and screaming at players after the Wolves win, and it seems to have clicked home to some players that actually you have to put in the effort if you're going to get results with a team like that in the Premier League week in, week out. So I think for me it's incredible to see just a spine all of a sudden, and you don't look at one position in a team now and think, that's we definitely need an upgrade there, or we definitely need an upgrade here. And I think they're all playing for each other. They all look like they're enjoying themselves, and it's just, I think the rest almost will come naturally in that Pellegrini system. We saw the first few weeks of the season. It took players quite a while to understand his methods and everything. And I was saying the entire time, just give it time, just give it time. People were panicking, but just give it time. He's a serial winner, this geezer. And when it finally clicks with everybody, like it seems to have had, the results and everything else is going to come with it. So it's like I said, Brighton will probably win now on Friday, but it's just the perfect time almost to be playing them.
Yeah, I'm reasonably confident as well, despite my praise for Brighton. That there's a lot going for us right now. We've got partnerships all over the pitch forming. The cohesion's there, the understandings are there. Our bench is reasonably strong. I'm a bit worried about the centre midfield, i.e. Rice got injured during the game on Friday. What do we do then? That's going to be but the thing is, Pellegrini's had a week and a half to prepare for that scenario on Friday night. He will have a plan. I think it will involve Robert Snodgrass, but we've now got a plan B. If Masuaku's injured, fine, Creswell goes in, it's no problem. Zabaleta gets injured, Fredericks goes in. Are we convinced by Fredericks? Probably not yet, but the rest of the 10 are performing well. They can coach him through the game if they have to, almost. They can speak to him. Before, when it was all a bit pragmatic, you couldn't do that. You couldn't nurture someone through the game. Noble had to worry about Rice and Obiang and Yarmolenko, etc. He doesn't have to worry about that now. He can focus on the one player that does need his support at the side of the pitch. When we were talking about partnerships earlier, we can talk about the goalkeeper and the centre-backs. The centre-backs on their own. The centre-backs with Rice with Obiang and Noble with Arnautovic with a winger. There's partnership all over the pitch that's forming. And together, it just makes us a very, very strong 11. And Chris Hughton's going to have more problems than Pellegrini planning for Friday night. Pellegrini can look at a Brighton team and go, Glenn Murray's the only one that really scores. Their left winger, Izzy Boy, likes to cut in on his right foot. Stop him doing that and you'll do all right. Chris Hughton must look at our West Ham team and go, bloody hell, there's attack coming from the left, the right, down the middle. Whatever you stop, it's fine. We will come the other way at you. It's a bit like what Pellegrini did to Chelsea. Pellegrini said we forced them over to the left-hand side of our pitch because that took the ball away from Alonso and Hazard. And you think, well, if someone's to do that to West Ham, it probably wouldn't bother us too much. We would punish you if you did that. If you overloaded one side, we would hit you down that other side. And that's what makes it a little bit interesting. It makes me slightly confident. We don't have a Betway charity bet yet. It should be up on social media soon. But basically, it's going to include not many cars because the referee is Kevin Friend, who has the lowest average card count in the Premier League per 90 minutes. He's everyone's mate. And lots of goals. Brighton can't keep a clean sheet. And while West Ham are playing well, we don't keep many clean sheets either. There's been lots of goals on both these sides as well. But prediction time. Gonzo, would you like to? Well, actually, no, I'm going to come to Tom first because I think we can all predict what Tom's away to.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, we've just got too much for Brighton. It's nothing against Brighton. You know, like we said, nice city by all accounts. But I just think we got too much. And I think it's interesting enough that, you know, I know we were at home against Man United, but, you know, before Man United made the change to put Rashford on, we almost had 60% possession at home against United. I mean, it's just unheard of. And I think on Friday, I think that we will dominate the ball. I hope we dominate the ball. And I honestly just can't see Brighton winning. I do think it will be tough at points, but no, I'm confident. I'm going to say 2-0 win for West Ham. Interesting.
Gonzo, are you going to continue the feel-good factor?
I am indeed, my friend. I think it's going to be the best Friday night out in Brighton since Tom was to experiment rhinos for the old Pink Flamingo Club. And I'm going to go for a 2-0 West Ham win.
2-0. I'm going to go for more goals than you two. I'm going to go 3-2 West Ham. I think we will get it. I think it's going to be a very, very good game for yourself on Friday night, Gonzo. But do enjoy it. We'll be back on Friday night with our review straight after full time. Gonzo won't be here, obviously. He will be in a Pink Flamingo Club somewhere celebrating a West Ham win. But drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here, and we'll catch you in a very bit.